So as some of you may have seen, I made a video responding to Invincible Season 2 takes that I came across on YouTube. And the two videos I covered were from a channel named RSG and the amazing Lightspeed himself. And one of those people decided to make a response video about my video. And the Invincible Echo Chamber, bro! But before I start this video, I need to preface something. It's important to watch my original video for more context, and if you want to watch any of the original videos within this video, they will all be linked in the description. But with all that being said, and all that out of the way, let's get into this video.
Hey guys, Invincible is a show that, you read the title, I don't like. I watched the show, and I did not enjoy my experience. However, a lot of people love this show and have thrown tantrums over me not liking it. Obviously, this is not something I would... So guys, I'm dying. I have the very rare non-manchild disease. So, now being one of the only normal people on Earth, I thought I'd give insight to my non-manchild mind.
Guys, these other people, these guys are man-children. So I'm just gonna open my video, spending 2 minutes and 40 seconds, proving to you how much of a man-child that I am, because I'm not a man-child. Also, you guys can't take opinions that disagree with you, so I'm gonna make a video explaining why I disagree with these opinions that disagree with me. What a fucking moron. The next part of this video is pretty much just him saying he rewatched Invincible Season 1 and he listed some things that he liked about it. I don't have anything to respond to here, so I'm skipping ahead.
The second episode then deals with another big problem I had. The fact that Invincible likes to deviate from the main story with these side quest-ass plotlines. Aliens invade. But the thing is that Mark is still growing as a character. Omni-Man naturally sleeps and then wakes up. It's all building this mystery narrative, and then, like, you know, Mark then goes to Mars and he starts having dates with Amber and, like, the Guardians of the Globe. Awesome drama. And we meet this guy, and Eve is depressed, and Mark drama, Amber college, and the sides, like the fast forward buns, looking really good. Invincible obviously has good elements, but at some point the writing is just not good enough and it keeps dragging on these boring ass plot lines.
So just like the last video, he again lists plot lines and says they're boring and the writing is so bad. But just like in his initial video that I responded to, he doesn't explain why these side plots are bad, and he doesn't explain why these things are uninteresting. He makes blanketed statements without going into any form of detail, which is not good criticism. I feel like the purpose of a critique is to explain why something can be better or where something went wrong. And critiques can have subjective and objective elements within them. But if you criticize a painting or some shit that I made, and you're just like, oh, I didn't really think the blue on this blue was blue enough, that's not fucking good criticism. That doesn't tell me how I should improve. That doesn't tell me why this thing is bad. It's just unproductive and uninteresting conversation and discussion that will literally lead nowhere.
It's just not interesting to see these two robots interact. Yo, like Mark, it's super hard being a superhero because your girlfriend of like 3 months hates you and you have bad grades in school. Definitely don't focus on the monsters and villains frequently showing up. You know, 5 dudes exploded in front of you. Any trauma or like at least perspective? I mean, that shit's ass, but like my fucking math teacher, man.
Okay, so let's take this point by point. 1, he tries to downplay Mark's internal conflict and struggles within the show, and he says that Mark isn't focused on villains and bad guys. I don't know how stupid you have to be to see how both of those statements just contradict each other, and how that is literally just a blatant lie. Mark consistently throughout Season 1 and Season 2 puts his superhero life over his normal life, and him doing this is literally the root of the conflict within his relationships and personal life. And the one time he chooses his personal life over his superhero life, in Season 1, a person is literally tortured, almost killed, and is traumatized and scarred for the rest of their life, which Season 2 follows up on and does something really interesting, as I explained in my original response video. You fail to explain why these plot lines are bad, and you say they're addicted to introducing random ass villains, as if that's the only thing that goes on in those plot lines, when there's literally always something more to this that either has parallels to the prominent characters, strong moments that touch on the writing of the characters, or the villains may just be interesting or entertaining within themselves. I'm sorry that you're too media literate to see that. And you know, every new villain that's introduced in anything can be classified as just some random villain. You know that, right? But let's take a look at these quote-unquote boring plot lines, or at least every one that he brings or like shows on the screen in his video. Number 1, the Donald and Rick plot line. Not only does this give good character work for both of these characters, but it also parallels something that Mark is struggling with, being trouble with his identity as a person, and struggling to move on. The second one he shows is the Monster Girl and Robot plotline. This has interesting character development where Robot learns to look at things through more of an emotional and like human lens, rather than one that is 100% logical, which parallels the Viltrumites and Omni-Man. In the beginning of the season, he's trying to get rid of the emotion and fear out of his brain, and he tries to push this logical ideology onto Monster Girl, and she helps him to not see everything in this way. The Adam-Eve plotline. She has to come to a rough realization that she can't fix everything with her powers in the way that she thought she could. She builds a park to help people in a community after the Chicago incident, but she later finds out that this caused numerous people to get hurt, and she tries to just fix the money problems for her family by using her powers, but her dad won't accept her gift because of how he feels morally about superheroes and the insecurities within himself that he's not adequate enough. And when her anger gets the better of her at a point in the show, she almost causes an entire family to be killed. So after this, Rex comes in to reassure her and kind of be there for her, that even when things go bad, she can still do good and make a good thing out of a bad one. And he shows her a picture of her old family, which parallels the matter at hand, as shown in her solo episode, and her moving back in with her parents shows her character development. The other plotline he shows, the Lizard League and the Sequids. This touches upon and leads into things with both Rex, Mark, the Immortal, and Kate as characters. And then the final thing he brings up, the Darkwing sidekick sequence. This showcases the parts of Mark that are like his dad coming up in this moment, which is foreshadowing. Everything that I just brought up adds to both pushing the plot forward, good moments for the character writing, and world building, all mashed together for brilliant pacing and great moments. Then the second point. He says any and all trauma or perspective is thrown out the window, and again, this is just wrong. Mark in season 1 quickly learns what this superhero life brings, and this scene that you literally just showed. He is traumatized and in shock over what's happening. And he even is still mentally acting like a normal civilian by being surprised and like starstruck that Adam-Eve is coming up to like save/help him. And after this, we literally have a scene that touches on Mark feeling distraught, sad, and disappointed in himself that he let this happen. And in the next day at school, the show literally verbatim focuses on these exact emotions in the scene with Eve and William. And the whole fucking show has countless moments that touch upon not just trauma, but Mark's internal struggles and emotions. So again, you're just straight up lying. And what exactly do you want the show to do? Do you want Mark's life to literally always be filled with like misery because of things like this? Is the show not allowed to have any kind of levity or happiness in Mark's life? And maybe if you actually paid attention to these quote-unquote boring side plots, you would have noticed that this side plot, with Rockman as you call him, focuses on this heavily, and shows Mark a new perspective of not always seeing things and people so black and white.
I just don't understand why we need all these fucking plot lines that end up just distracting from the main one.
Oh my god, dude. The reason for these plot lines is to add world building as well as more interesting characters within the world. And 99% of these plot lines are interesting and have depth within their writing.
Oh look guys, Robot is a deformed baby. He's gonna clone himself in Rex's body. Isn't that crazy?
I'm sorry it wasn't you.
Don't be.
Yo, that's deep, bro. Like, imagine if you cloned yourself.
Now, what I could do is explain what's interesting about the Robot and Monster Girl plotline and how it parallels those two characters in a very interesting way that is explored with depth, but why should I do that? It's not like this guy explains anything. He goes into zero depth as to why something is bad. All you do is explain things in the most bare bones way possible and goes, oh look guys, am I being funny yet?
Yo, guys, you see that guy? That guy's underrated, and I don't mean that in any sense of quality or enjoyment. He's actually crazy power level. Underrated.
What the fuck are you even talking about?
Now listen, I can genuinely look past the PNG sliding or the Newgrounds ass set pieces, but the character faces are just not expressive. At least half of the meaning of a human comes from their face. Sometimes it doesn't even look like the faces match what they're saying.
Stop. Just stop.
I as well can acknowledge that some of the small 5-second scenes that people like to nitpick where the animation doesn't look that good, but how in the fuck is the facial animation not good? In the example you show of Omni-Man in his face, he looks both frustrated and a bit worried, which is exactly how he's feeling in the scene that you're showing. How does this not match?
Like, yes, it is a cartoon, but that means it's just a cartoon.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But eventually, the show does get going in its finale, and it's fine. Omni-Man snaps, and Cecil is doing everything to stop him, but I do not like how it keeps cutting away to the characters' reactions and the news commentators.
So let me get this straight. One of your earlier criticisms was that they don't sit with the trauma enough, which I've already disproved, and you would just know is just blatantly wrong if you have any form of media literacy. So of all the things that you criticize, the cutaways to the world's reaction to Omni-Man going bad, when that's a completely fine thing for the show to do, that's the problem that you point out. So let me actually help you out and give an actual criticism that makes sense for this, this sequence. Cecil makes himself appear as a threat to Omni-Man, despite Omni-Man at this point not doing anything yet to retaliate against Cecil or the world. And Cecil should be, and knows he needs as much time as possible before engaging Omni-Man in a fight. So instead of coming up with a better plan of attack, or just waiting, he instead does this stupid shit and sends in the Shadow Troopers to attack Omni-Man.
Eventually, Omni-Man starts beating the shit out of Mark and kills millions of innocent PNGs. Honestly, I don't think it was the right decision to make Omni-Man so cold and void of emotion. They have that super upfront flashback scene with absolutely no subtlety. Like, okay, in that specific random ass moment, Omni-Man learned to appreciate his son. All I'm saying is that Omni-Man is the Viltrumite who found stuff to love on Earth. I would have liked to see some hint of him fighting past those feelings, because especially after season 2, it just doesn't feel like it fits.
The show literally shows us at numerous points Omni-Man struggling with this decision. And in the season finale, we literally see him feeling emotion for what he's doing. And the whole fight in the end, he's literally just projecting at Mark, telling Mark this fight is pointless, unnecessary, and that he should just stop fighting. Everything he says to Mark can just be thrown right back at Omni-Man. And he literally flies away, completely abandoning that initial mission that he landed on Earth to do, because of not only those projected feelings, but the sense of humanity that he grew while he was on Earth. And season 2 explores and rides off of this very well. So how is this out of place? And you say this moment where it shows this flashback of Debbie helping Nolan learn what humanity is, what it means to be human, and why even small things can matter even when you have all the power in the world. You say shit is bad because, oh, there's not enough subtlety, dude. When that's just, again, a blanketed statement that holds no weight. If you get mad when characters even slightly express how they're feeling, or when a story shows you the experiences of what made a character the way that they are, then you should think literally everything is bad. And you literally haven't once explained how any of the things you say aren't subtle. You haven't explained how literally any of this could have been done better. But we'll also get into this dude's inconsistent standards later in the video.
But whatever, the ending is cool. Except it's not, because then we have a whole last 30 minutes of the show reassuring us that everything is okay. Mark is okay. Immortal is okay. Alan the alien is here. I am so fucking proud of Mark.
Oh my god. You say that the show is like, oh yeah, everything is okay, man, yeah. Okay, so now what I want you to do, instead of me doing it for you, I want you, yourself, to look at all of these scenes, analyze all these scenes in a video, and after you do that, explain how the scenes after the events of Omni-Man are expressing that everything will be okay, man, yeah. But since I know you won't do that, all I'll simply say is, yes, a couple characters may be physically okay, but none of them are mentally okay. The whole world is not mentally okay.
Ultimately, the downfall of Invincible is the weak writing combined with the uninteresting plot lines that distract from what's interesting. I did enjoy parts of the show, but most of it is such a drag. I'm sorry guys, I'm not feeling a 4. I'm feeling a 3.
You didn't have to cut me off. Think I like it never happened to know we were nothing.
Now guys, I am pretty tired of talking about Invincible. But what we have to realize is that I am not uploading this to a website full of mature people who want to have productive discourse. This video is being uploaded to a website full of man-children who can't handle an opinion. And people hated my Invincible review.
You say that this website is filled with man-children, and I can agree to some extent. But not for the reason that your dumbass seems to think. You're literally crying like a little bitch because you made multiple dogshit videos where you lie, disingenuously frame the writing, and say things without any explanation, and you get mad when people debunk and call you out for the bullshit that you're saying. And I want people to read what this definition says before I have comments saying, you can't debunk an opinion, bro. But RSG cries and calls people man-children, then hypocritically gets butthurt over their opinion of his opinion. Guys, I'm just racist, but that's just my opinion, bro. No reason to get upset or criticize that opinion in any way.
But here's the thing. Most people in the United States, which is what I'm going to talk about, go to school. School teaches you a lot. Here's what it doesn't teach you. Critical thinking.
Schools don't promote or teach critical thinking. I think bro just outed himself. I don't know what school you went to, but like, that's kind of the point. Why people go to school. The point of something like a math test is to use the knowledge that you gained in the classroom and think critically to complete said math test. But I'll be fair to his school, because it's probably not as bad as he actually makes it out to seem. He's probably explaining his school system just like he does with Invincible's writing. They most likely did teach you critical thinking, you're just too stupid to think critically.
And the ability to overcome insecurities. These are things that people have to learn by themselves, and a lot of people do not. Man-children are adults who are immature. Being bothered by an opinion makes you immature, and therefore a man-child.
So by your own logic, you're a man-child.
You peanut head motherfucker.
But we're just gonna focus on the Invincible man babies today. So let's see these comments, go more in depth with Invincible, and win this Reddit war! Hey, everybody loves this one thing, therefore I have to shit on it. Okay, so first of all, this guy could be trolling, but it's way more likely that he's not, so we're just gonna assume that all these guys are not trolling. Now, obviously, this guy cannot comprehend that someone just doesn't like something that they like, so they confidently present this scenario as the truth.
And you can't comprehend this show's writing.
Now, obviously, trash critical thinking just to master insecurity. Now, I can't imagine how a man-child would not be able to comprehend someone else not liking the show because of echo chambers. Now, I'm not an expert on when and how people decided it was normal to feel personally offended with opinions regarding art.
But aren't you the same person that literally makes fun of people for thinking that the show has deep and complex writing?
But you can see that the internet today is built on so many man-children who crave validation. For that reason, they will naturally gravitate towards people who give them validation, which is how these echo chambers kind of build up to become self-sustaining.
If it's a bad thing for YouTubers to want validation for content they put out, then are all YouTubers bad? Aren't you a YouTuber? Or have I been making videos on a completely different platform this whole time? Do you make them for yourself to watch them? Literally every YouTuber makes videos to entertain people and get feedback and engagement for the videos they make. Hence, why many people quit making content when they don't get much traction on a platform. And yes, I agree, most people will stop watching people who consistently have really shit takes and are bad at reviewing things. However, it is impossible for a YouTuber to make a video with an opinion that you will always agree with. You're conflating the people who like to watch good videos with good actual criticism with people who just want their opinion validated on a YouTube video. I watch many YouTubers who I don't agree with on a regular basis. One of those people is someone who you clearly cloned your channel from, being Video Game Donkey, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna get on their ass every time they say something stupid. The problem comes down to when you're acting like a smug and pretentious bitch while simultaneously saying the most stupid shit in the world. But again, if you are a good content creator who can actually make well-structured review that goes in depth onto their points and why they think that way, then even if you say something that people don't agree with, they still probably won't get mad if you make a video that they disagree with. You just have no self-awareness to not see the difference, and you're too stubborn to admit when you're wrong. And you say that these people live in an echo chamber, but where do you live? You get brain-dead comments from your brain-dead fan base who clap like seals when you make brain-dead review videos. I made my video giving you a new perspective on the shit that you're criticizing, and I offered you a chance to come on a stream and debate those points. So who's really the one living in an echo chamber?
This is one of the worst takes I've ever heard in a long time. Are you trolling? If that's the case, then you got me. But if you're actually being serious, then you need to just stop and never cook again, because this was bad. Emoji. Okay, so we got the TikTok Riz Party ass vocabulary, and I'm just gonna assume this is an actual kid. But I will say, it is actually possible to say bad take when talking about opinions.
So it's okay for someone to say that someone has a bad take, but you're simultaneously making fun of people who call out bad takes. Or is it only when they call out your bad takes?
And that is for the genuine reason for the opinion. It exposes the person if they are being clear and honest. But let's not act like man-children have the ability to analyze. Most, if not all, these fucking dudes are saying bad take because it's not the opinion they want to hear. In fact, I think this comment section is a pretty funny situation where all these man babies try their best to bring up some reasoning to justify their insecurities.
Brother, by your own logic, you are the one who's insecure here as well. You can't simultaneously call people insecure because they said you had a shit take, which you did, and then go back and say, no, you have a shit take for disagreeing with my take. And I get comments like this too, where they're just like, oh, bad take L, without going into any kind of depth. And I see those comments and they're like a little annoying, especially if you go in depth about something, but you have no reason to be mad. You do not go in depth about a damn fucking thing. See, you can't get mad at people when they don't feel like they need to go in depth.
Because I'm gonna say it right now, Invincible is not that hard to understand.
If it's not that hard to understand and you don't understand it, brother, I'm sorry, but you're just self-admitting to being an idiot. This is like someone saying, yeah, guys, math class isn't that hard.
Why is Mark even trying to go to college when he's the most powerful person on Earth?
RSG, you're mocking yourself. But please, keep doing it, because you are stupid.
Yeah, that's the point of the conflict. He's also 19 years old. Why are you expecting him to make consistently logical decisions and have no emotions? It's not bad writing. You're just jaded. Okay, I mean, before I say anything, I want to let you guys know that most of these comments could be refuted by the video itself, but these people obviously have trouble following it, so it's fine.
Oh no, that video doesn't refute literally anything, but I have a video with a perfectly fine thing for you to refute, but do you do that in this video? No. What you do later in the video is you cherry pick a couple points out of a way longer video and try to make it seem like you made something of a point, but we'll get to that when we get to it. And again, for more context on his criticism and how I responded to that criticism, I've already done it in the other video, so you just go watch that.
So obviously this guy's saying that Mark is supposed to be a moron. And first of all, my main problem is that regardless of if it makes sense, it's simply not fun to watch a moron take so long to figure out something so simple.
No, what the guy in the comments said was what he said. But nice straw, man. And you literally just said that it makes sense within the show why he feels this way. So you just debunked your own fucking point. Mark's not a moron if it makes sense in the show why he feels this way. You stupid. Oh my god. Most people don't care if you like the show. The problem is when you say the show is bad, then give the shittiest reasoning for why it's bad. And your standards are inconsistent.
And second, I don't know if you've watched this show that you love so much or that I didn't understand, but in the last scene, the mom, not the stupid child 19-year-old, the mom says this.
I know things have been tough, but this is your future you're talking about. You can't just quit college.
Dick Fury throughout the show is like, listen, kid, fine, you have to go to college, but please, fine, I'm sorry. This show factually frames this moment as the conclusion of the season, with Mark only now with this experience is coming to this brutal realization that he shouldn't be going to college when the entire earth is at stake. Like, guys, I already fucking talked about this, but this is a guy who is being dishonest about the qualities of his show. You're allowed to like Invincible for what it is, but why are you instead twisting reality to tell me, no, you just didn't understand it? Oh wait, because he's what is he? A man-child.
It's fucking hilarious. You still don't tackle why exactly your point would stand. His mom wants what's best for him, the best way that she knows. She saw how Nolan's life and his mindset was before he became the man that she loved. Why would she want Mark to follow the same path of disregarding his personal life to only really be a superhero and be on some mission all the time? This whole sequence and this whole character arc and this whole beat in this show is about so much more than just quitting college. And once again, I explain in the video that you fucking watched, but you don't tackle any of those points within this certain part of the topic. You don't tackle any of those points at all in this video. I wonder why that is. And you claim the guy is being dishonest about the quality of the show, which means that you think his opinion is wrong. You literally have zero self-awareness, and guess what? You don't understand the show. Or maybe you do understand it, but you're too fucking stubborn to accept that your arguments are non-fucking existent, and even when they have a smidge of existence, they're shit.
Says he hates concept in a scene, shows a random clip, never explains what the scene did wrong. Repeat, literally the video. Okay, listen, if you actually watch this shit,
Self is, why are you here talking to me?
And you're just leaning forward invested, then I... Listen, there are differences in how dialogue is written and framed between different media. If you don't notice it at all, even after I explained it in the video, I just don't think there's anything I can do to show you.
So your response to this comment is doing exactly what the comment says you're doing. This man's intellect is far beyond human understanding. You don't explain it. In that video, you put across a concept and put it onto Invincible, but then don't explain why it's bad in the context of the show.
Yelling at the mic and showing random clips without explanation is not good criticism, sorry. Okay, first of all, thank you. I am Eminem. Second of all, bragging about you not being able to comprehend something is never going to make you seem smart.
Self-awareness. It's something that's key. But I agree with what he just said, which is why the video that he makes make him look like a fucking moron.
But it is a video you got offended by, and I am never going to ask a man-child to be more productive in discourse.
Once again, to everyone watching this video, I really hope you learned this lesson, because, man, this just really shows you why self-awareness is important.
Spider-Man works because, first of all, there aren't a numerous amount of crazy-ass villains and monsters that attack Earth regularly. More focused on Raimi, by the way. There isn't a fucking Viltrumite war, which Mark is literally the center of when it comes to Earth because the fucking captain told him. Mark, then being the most important man on Earth, is then fully supported and covered by S.H.I.E.L.D. Spider-Man works because he deals with literal crooks and criminals that the police already go after anyways. He actively chooses to be Spider-Man because of the responsibility he puts on himself. He is a public figure, but the city would not really change or get fucking demolished if he stopped, which is why it is gripping to see Peter deal with this selfishness.
Looks like someone has inconsistent standards. You say it works for Spider-Man to have selfish desires because, one, he's not dealing with monsters and villains all the time. This is just blatantly wrong. If you don't know anything about Spider-Man, just say that. But let's look at Raimi, since he seems to like that very much. We have Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Venom, Little Goblin Jr., and Sandman. And two, he says it works because Spider-Man's dealing with regular crooks and criminals that the police go after anyways. Okay, so by your logic, it should be completely fine for Mark to also want to live a normal life because the cops and other superheroes on Earth already go after these kinds of threats. He also says that if Peter stopped being Spider-Man, then the city wouldn't go to hell. Brother, how fucking stupid are you? You don't even understand the shit that you do like. In Spider-Man 1, Green Goblin literally wanted Peter on his side so that they could take over the city. In Spider-Man 2, if Peter wasn't Spider-Man, Doc Ock would have literally destroyed the entire city, maybe even the fucking world, if the sun got big enough. If anything, the world in Invincible is more likely to stay intact if Mark stopped being invincible than if Peter stopped protecting New York. And mind you, Spider-Man is literally the only hero that exists in the Raimiverse. So why don't you have a problem when Peter has selfish desires? There's a whole movie centered around those selfish desires, and Peter wants to have a normal life.
Now, I'm not saying Mark shouldn't feel bad. Obviously, he's been through a lot. His dad is a monster, and he can't spend as much time with his loved ones anymore. But I don't understand why it took him so long to let go of this obsession with having a normal life. And yet, he realizes his truth when Amber is at risk of dying. You know, just like she would have been if the Viltrumites invaded her, along with his entire family and loved ones and college and fucking species. But, you know, just have a normal life. Just ignore the problem. There you go.
You're like halfway there, bro. Please, just get it on your own. I can't, dude. You almost understood the show. Like, you almost did it. You understood half of it. But the reason he realizes the whole normal life thing won't work out right now is not only because of the Viltrumite threat, but because Mark is literally scared of his own power. And in that moment, when he felt himself about to snap because of Amber's life being in danger, this is what makes him finally stop trying to have a normal life, until he can deal with his own internal issues. And he's not saying fuck you to the Viltrumite threat. He is literally still fighting, just while still trying to uphold a normal life for most of the show. You're so fucking dumb, man. Like, I don't get why you're so stupid. Also, again, I go over this way more and even more in the other video.
Because it really comes down to realizing it in a logical way, not an emotional one.
Making a both logical and emotional decision shouldn't have emotion within it. RSG 2024.
What also makes Spider-Man so much more compelling to me is that even though both him and Mark end up doing the right thing, it feels like Mark always needs to be almost convinced by someone else to do it.
Literally, the reason Peter is Spider-Man is because of something he was told from his uncle. Pretty much every time Peter is down on himself about being Spider-Man, he is reminded and thinks back to those words from his uncle. One of the reasons he came back to be Spider-Man again was because of a pep talk with Aunt May in Spider-Man 2. And in Spider-Man 3, he literally gets another pep talk with Aunt May before repairing him and MJ's relationship. Just accept that your standards are inconsistent, just like Sandman's morals.
Whether it's Dick Fury or Adam Eve, it's genuinely fucking annoying. Whereas Peter always puts what he believes to be the right thing to do over himself.
Oh, you mean, just like Mark?
Even when he doesn't have powers. When I say shitty Spider-Man, I mean shitty Spider-Man. Like, I'm kind of rambling now, but even on a base level, think about how creative someone would need to be to come up with a superhero like Spider-Man. The costume, too. Whereas Invincible, oh, he's super strong and super durable and he can fly. Like, please, Invincible fans, sit the fuck down and show some respect to your daddy.
Guys, Superman's a bad character and not creative because, he's super strong and super durable and he has reasonable morals and has struggles that most normal people go through.
This comment is then like, this video wasn't necessary. And it's like, you man children have to realize that art is subjective. The book of W opinions does not exist. Not everyone is going to echo what you say. You're allowed to like Invincible, and you're a moron if you think my video is supposed to prove why Invincible is objectively bad.
I can't comprehend how someone is this unself-aware. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry, that was a lie, because I've dealt with a lot of stupid people. Brother, I don't know if you even know the words that have come out of your mouth, but you blatantly are trying to prove that the show is bad. The statements that you make would be objective issues if they were even true and had actual merit. And even if you weren't trying to prove that it's objectively bad, I don't fucking care. Most people probably don't care. You're still criticizing the fucking show, and people are allowed to voice their disagreements with your fucking criticisms.
So hey guys, what? Spider-Man himself responded. No, I'm just kidding, Colin. Colin the incel, or as I like to call him, Call-incel.
You would know that people tend to lash out in a fit of emotion at times, and or hold certain grudges when they are too stubborn to get over it in their current mindset. And also, in real life, this is always apparent in girls most of the time. Let's not act like girls don't sometimes burst out in fits of emotion, and or treat someone like an asshole in certain situations.
You know, I understand the unfairness. Everyone wants to be with Spider-Man, but then walk past Peter Parker.
You mean to tell me that you made a joke about a stereotype that's put onto women? Wow, man, you're such an incel, dude. You're gonna have to do better than that, my boy. By this logic, anyone who makes a watermelon joke about black people is racist.
No, but guys, listen. I thought I didn't like Invincible, but looks like that was debunked. Let's check this out, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. That was a really hard watch. I think the mentality that Colin brings, where he wants to debunk everything, and you're not explaining, bro. It's genuine cancer. This is literally a 20-minute session of disingenuous or maybe just dumbass point correcting.
You mean to tell me this guy expects me to explain myself when I criticize something? Jesus Christ, dude. And let's see exactly how I'm being disingenuous in my video.
Just look at this. Mark continuously uses super speed, but not in this final fight where it's extremely drawn out and not tense at all.
Yes, Mark has super speed, and Angstrom is able to react to his attacks.
So he really just said that. And if you've watched any of my speedster videos, you'd know that I call him a moron for that. What the fuck was that power scaling ass analysis of super speed?
Guys, I'm gonna bring up power scaling to criticize the show. Then when someone brings up power scaling to refute my point, I'm gonna call them a disingenuous moron. Also, it's funny that you claim I'm being disingenuous when you also, you didn't put in the other part of my argument, where I literally said, yes, Mark has super speed, and Angstrom is able to react to his attacks. Also, Mark is trying to play it safe because his family is in danger, and he knows nothing about Angstrom and his full capabilities. But let's see exactly why he thinks my defense was bad.
If Mark used super speed, he would not only be moving a lot faster, he would be slowing down time, which is why he probably wouldn't be falling for these goofy ass portal tricks.
So you're saying Mark would be slowing down time because he's really fast, but if Angstrom can move just as fast, and he can tag Mark in a fight, then what exactly do you think Mark looks like from Angstrom's perspective, RSG? What do you think that means? Guys, Reverse Flash is a bad villain because, Flash has super speed and, he can slow down time. Wait, what do you mean that Reverse Flash can also slow down time because he has super speed? Wait, what are you talking about? Wait, what?
Lacking basic logic is gonna be strike one.
And how many strikes are we at with you? We've got, lying, disingenuous argumentation, no media literacy, hypocrisy, inconsistent standards. Let's see if I get that many strikes. I've seen a loud minority of people say that the animation for this show is bad, and I genuinely don't understand it.
Okay, so Colin really just outed himself not being able to understand why someone would think the animation looks bad. What the fuck is that thinking skill? I like how I've basically already responded to everything this dude has said, even before he made this video. Fucking prophet of truth, apparently. Not only is Colin hiding behind his ignorance, he's making absolutely no effort to open his mind to other people's perspectives. This man really cannot understand why someone would say the animation looks bad. The fuck? Strike two.
So, you say I'm hiding behind my ignorance, but you don't even explain why the animation is bad in your video, the video that I'm responding to in that video. You also say I'm not opening up my eyes to other perspectives. Brother, not only do I host streams where I let anyone come on and debate about my takes that I've had, but I've also offered you that very same chance in the video that you watched. And you would know that because I say it in the fucking video that you're responding to. I also debated with people about the animation in the show on one of those streams, you fucking moron. I also co-host those streams with people who I disagree with on a lot of things. One of those people is someone who I became friends with from making a response video to them. And you also watched that response video. I can understand why some people would say the animation looks bad in very short segments of the show, like seconds at most. And I agree with those parts that people point out. However, I have yet to see a single argument or visual proof of the show being like this for every minute of its runtime. All I've seen is videos nitpicking a few scenes where the animation looks wonky. So no, I don't understand how someone could say the animation for the abundance of the show looks bad. And you say this fight isn't tense. What in the actual fuck are you talking about?
RC2, like, you don't understand, bro. I was literally peeing my pants while watching this scene. Listen, I'm sure it was a traumatizing scene for you, okay? And I'm sure the entire show is a gripping character drama for you too. But as someone who doesn't only watch kids shows, I gotta say that I didn't really care for the ABC writing.
Man, don't you guys just love how pretentious he sounds while simultaneously saying the absolute dumbest shit throughout his videos? Those kinds of people are really the best for me.
So this scene is obviously supposed to be tense, right? You have the lights off, a baby crying, a dangerous villain on edge, and a helpless woman. You know, this doesn't remind me of anything at all. The Invincible writers are just crazy creative.
Guys, this scene is not tense because it reminds me of a similar conceptual scenario with a completely different context. Okay, so by your logic, this scene in Spider-Man 1 with Goblin, MJ, and the Fairy Kids, this scene shouldn't be tense to you. Because in Batman Forever, they did a similar concept with Chase, Robin, and the Riddler. But also, guys, wait for this. Spider-Man 2 isn't well written and not very creative because the comics and the 90s series already did the Spider-Man No More storyline. Man, I'm sorry to everyone that liked that movie, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's just bad, man.
So we're just gonna have the scene, right? But what if we also made it into a multiverse cameo scene? That shit would be fire. So Mark obviously knows that his mother and brother are at risk of dying, right? So he goes through this portal, and while the portal is still open for him to get back, undoubtedly being able to use super speed, instead he's like, yo, where am I, dude? Dinosaur Island? Like, dude, where the fuck is your urgency if your mother is about to die and you don't even know if the dude is going to open a portal again?
One, Mark literally just crashed into the ground at super speed, hence his head would be a little foggy and he would be a little disoriented from this. Two, the portal closing is probably faster than it actually looks, and it closes pretty fast in the show. If Angstrom can open up portals just as fast, then why can't he close them just as fast? That makes complete sense. Is it a problem in Spider-Man 2 that Doc Ock's arms can keep up with Spider-Man despite them not looking as fast as bullets, which Spider-Man can consistently dodge? And then 3, let's say Mark wasn't disoriented by this. The portal would have closed before he could even fly to it. So this criticism would be a nitpick at best.
This happens like fucking 7 times, and Mark just goes into NPC mode every time while his family is at stake. Yo, what? You're like a man and a bat? What?
They literally make it blatantly clear that some of these dimensions have different rules in time. So his time in some of those dimensions is probably moving way faster than time on his home dimension. Also, Mark is trying to remain calm and composed so that he doesn't snap. So it makes sense that in scenes like the Batman joke, that Mark isn't as emotional as you may want him to be. The reason why this scene is tense is because both Mark's family is literally at risk of dying, and Mark is slowly beginning to lose himself and get more and more frustrated.
Wow, guys, that is perfect logic.
Mark manages to get a small hit right before he's sucked into the portal. Where is the logical issue?
What's even better is that once he goes through the portal, he's instantly more worried about Doc Ock than his own family at stake. Like, seriously, no sense of urgency or even care. Like, Whoa, you're trying to hurt this guy, or whoa, you're Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse, or what, dog?
When he flies through the portal, he accidentally hits an innocent man, or what he believes to be an innocent man. Why would Mark not be worried that he could have just killed this guy? That doesn't mean he's now not worried about his family. And he also thinks Agent Spider is trying to hurt this guy, which literally shows him being unselfish like you want him to be. And the portal is closed. He can't do anything about his family right now.
And again, Colin uses his inability to analyze as a point for why I'm objectively wrong, the fucking genius.
You say I can't use my ability to analyze, yet I literally had to analyze the writing of the show in order to counter your claims about the show. If you could just, attempt to have even an ounce of self-awareness, I promise you this would be going a lot better.
It's the laziest way to show what she's feeling, and it comes off as very unnatural.
Fuck do you mean she's calm enough to speak? Are you implying that people can't speak when they aren't calm? Like what?
Settle down, son.
No, I have no intention of settling down. This man killed my uncle, and he's still out there.
Also, how is this dialogue unnatural? And how does she seem calm? She's literally talking like someone who's feeling shock and disbelief.
So here he's just hyper-focused on Debbie being able to talk. Like, yeah, usually if someone gets exposed with insane information, they usually need a second to breathe, and are usually not repeating exactly what they've been told.
Yes, genius, I am going to focus on the point that you just brought up. That's usually how this works, you fucking moron. And her being able to speak isn't the only thing I said. And you say that, oh, a normal person in the real world wouldn't just repeat what Mark just told her, when we don't even know the exact words that Mark said to her. And I have not only done stuff similar in real life, but I've also seen it firsthand in conversations. Like I said in my video, she's talking like someone who's in shock and disbelief. So saying out loud something similar to the crazy shit that she's just been told isn't unnatural. And she also literally does sit there for a second to take in the information. Like, let's lay out a hypothetical real quick. My friend sleeps over at my house after a night of drinking, and in the morning I have a cop banging on my door asking me if I had any information on a crime or the whereabouts of my friend, because he tells me that my friend robbed 3 convenience stores while I was asleep. If I responded to the cop saying, last night he wasn't even sober enough to walk and you're telling me he robbed 3 stores? What the hell? I, in that situation, like Debbie, am so dumbfounded by what I just heard, I would need to repeat something similar just to make sure that I'm not crazy and I'm hearing you correctly. How the fuck does that not sound realistic? Just because a character doesn't say exactly what you want or think they should say, that doesn't mean the dialogue is unrealistic. And I asked you in the video what you would have her say, and you literally have no response to that. I wonder why.
Colin is then like, the rest of the scene gives more context to the character's feelings.
No, here's what I actually said. Also, even if I was to agree with this criticism, this would be a nitpick at best. And you just seem to forget that there's more that happens in that scene as well, that touches upon both Mark and Debbie's internal conflict in this season.
And it's like, he's either dumb enough to not know what I just said, or he's intentionally ignoring what I just said. Why do you think I took so long talking about exposition and how characters express themselves? Probably because, maybe I was making a point about that.
Yes, and what I was saying was that what you're saying doesn't fall in line with the exposition dump-esque dialogue. And I don't even agree that exposition dump is inherently bad. Sometimes the story needs to do this. For example, in Transformers 1, when Optimus is giving Sam context on the war and the Decepticons, this isn't bad dialogue. This is necessary within the film. Just like hearing Debbie's thoughts and the way she reacts emotionally is necessary within Invincible. And you have still failed to show why this is bad or unrealistic.
And then Colin says, yo, this is just a nitpick at best. And it's like, what the fuck? How dumb is this dude? This man just said nitpick like if I'm trying to prove the show is objectively bad.
I've already explained how you literally are trying to show why it's bad, and you are making fun of people who think it's good. You can say in your comment sections as much as you want, I'm glad some people liked Invincible, but that's not what your videos say. You are constantly condescending while simultaneously being a moron. Speaking of irony and someone being moronic, you don't need to be objective to nitpick, you fucking dumbass. If I have what I believe to be a beautiful painting, and you look at that painting and go, I don't like this painting because there's actually one tiny black dot in the background, so the whole painting is bad. That is by definition nitpicking.
And I literally said that this problem is prevalent throughout the entire show. Me using that scene is what you call an example. Yes, Invincible is not creative and honestly mostly lazy with how it handles its characterization.
No, your video only used a few examples, and I went over literally all of those examples. And I explained why what you're laying out isn't correct by your own laid out premise of what makes bad dialogue. I also pointed out how your standards are inconsistent, and guess what? You don't refute those points. And let me ask you something. Is the first few minutes of Kung Fu Panda bad because Po has a dream about being a part of the Furious Five, and then in the next scene he won't tell his dad about his dream, which is putting Po's internal conflict and desires right on the nose for the audience to pick up on? Or is it bad in Spider-Man 1 when at the end of the movie Peter says to the audience what his responsibility is? Or in Spider-Man 2 when he's sitting in the window asking himself, am I not supposed to have what I want, yada yada yada? Like, what the fuck is this argument?
Also, just to show how smart Colin is, he uses a Spider-Man 3 scene to show that Debbie's reaction was realistic. Let me say that again. He used a fictional movie scene from a notoriously campy director to justify why another fictional scene was realistic. No, you guys don't understand. This guy's the boogeyman, guys.
1, this is clearly a fucking joke. 2, just because a movie or director is campy, that doesn't mean they can't have seriousness within their stories. 3, you're calling me stupid because I made fun of you because you implied that people can't speak when they aren't calm. You're a fucking moron. And 4, you just proved my point. You said a statement and then repeated that statement because you couldn't believe the fucking shit that you just heard. You simultaneously made yourself look like a fucking dumbass while debunking yourself.
Cause hot damn, you wanna know what's a scam? Your fucking education. Yeah, that's what the scam is.
This is everywhere in this show.
Why are you here talking to me when you should be talking to him?
Okay, so you bring up another scene without elaborating what exactly the problem is?
Bro, twice. Yeah, I'm done.
Not showing the full argument and then laughing about it is not an argument, RSG.
For all you chads who know art is subjective, excuse me for a second. Well, I'm not stupid enough to think you can debunk a review.
I literally have said, and I agree, that art in general is subjective. However, that doesn't mean that problems in a piece of media can't be objective. For example, if I point out a plot hole or instance of plot armor in a story, and there's no logical or coherent defense for the said plot hole or instance of plot armor, that is an objective problem with the story. However, the subjective element of a piece of art is whether or not you personally give a fuck about that problem that was laid out. And yes, moron, you can debunk a review. If someone leaves a bad review on a pizza place and claims that this pizza had too much garlic on it, and then I respond to that review saying we don't use garlic for our pizza, that is me debunking that stupid fucking review. I'm sorry that you're too stupid to understand such a simple concept, and I'm sorry to tell you, but when you say a show is bad, then I'd expect to hear good arguments that make sense and are consistent with your standards. You seem to like Kung Fu Panda and Raimi Spider-Man, so if I make a review saying, oh, Kung Fu Panda bad because the movie is more than 1 hour long, or Spider-Man 1 is bad because Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker, bro. You cannot tell me with a straight face that you wouldn't look at that review and laugh at just how fucking stupid those statements are. Get off your high horse, you pretentious fucking idiot.
I know that there are merits in art that an artist strives for. It's not all just random, and yes, people do try to get better in their writing. Colin, let alone the fact that you see nothing wrong with this shit, it's clear that you couldn't tell me the difference in writing between Invincible and a show like Breaking Bad. You couldn't tell me the difference between an anime and a game like Red Dead Redemption 2.
You still have yet to go at the argument that I made in the video as to why the scene is not bad and it doesn't fall in line with what you're saying. But for someone who thinks art is subjective and there can't be objective criticism, it's funny that you think that I'm stupid for saying that this isn't bad. I hope you're not upset by my opinion, RSG. That would be very manchild of you, dude. And he asks me what I think the difference is between Invincible and Breaking Bad and an anime and Red Dead 2. Wow, man, I mean, you kind of got me there because I don't know the correct way to answer that. Are you asking for the difference in the plot, the medium, the characters, the antagonists? Huh, it's maybe like being specific and going into detail will really help you make better videos and arguments.
But guys, what does Colin consider to be high art? Batman movie, yes, Lego Batman. Spider-Man 2 has a complicated story. You don't understand Spider-Man 2. You're not smart enough. Guys, Insomniac is the master of understanding intricacies of Venom.
Would you care to explain why the Lego Batman movie isn't a great movie? Also, in my video on Spider-Man 2, I never said someone was an idiot for not understanding the story. That video was literally my interpretation of the writing and what I liked and disliked about it. And the title was called It's a Complicated Story because there's a lot to unpack about the story and the writing within it. Can't even understand a fucking simple video title, like it's fucking... Oh my god. However, I will call you an idiot if you misinterpret any story or disingenuously frame the writing in such a poor and brain-dead way that I am completely dumbfounded by what you just said. The same way that you call people stupid for what you believe to be bad response comments under your video. The same way that you make fun of people for thinking that Invincible has good writing.
The fact that you guys don't even know what I'm talking about when I say writing shows how little knowledge you actually have in this medium. Colin's entire video and all the comments I see are just, no, this is actually that, so that's not bad writing.
What? The comment you just put on the screen doesn't even correlate to what you just said. And yes, if you say a brain-dead criticism and there's something in the show that refutes that criticism, then yes, that's a completely reasonable comment for someone to leave under your video.
To these morons, good writing just means no plot holes. And as someone who actually knows what writing is, I'll personally assure you that it's a lot more complex than that.
You serious?
Is that what you think? Well, that's really interesting. I sure hope I don't have a video that literally came out like 3 days ago where I said the writing of a game was weak because the characters can be pretty bland and the dialogue was bad at points, but the plot didn't really have any issues. You also just completely lie about my standards. You can actually point out a good amount of plot holes to me. Granted, it depends on the amount. But if I think the character writing for the story is still good, then I might still consider it a good story or even a decent one, or I might just only drop it down to mid at best. Character writing is literally what I talk about in every single one of my story analysis videos. That's what I value most from stories. But please, Mr. Sir RSG, the master of writing himself, let's see what you have to say about what writing really is.
When I'm watching Invincible, I genuinely cannot believe how inept it is in its writing. The charm wears off. There is no subtlety, no complexity, and no boundaries pushed in storytelling. There is absolutely nothing to interpret or layers to peel back. There are interesting ideas, but it's all about the execution. It's like fucking Oppenheimer. You guys don't even hear the music. You don't even have the concept of high art in your vicinity. You guys are not knowledgeable. You are superhero fanboys.
Oh, so I see what this is. He has a little hate boner for comic book media, and he's one of those pretentious dorks who views comic book media as lesser art. And I like how he goes on this rant that not only doesn't go into any detail, but what can you really expect from this guy, but I could also play a couple of clips from literally any random piece of media with the same rant, without the name drops, of course, and I promise you, you wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. Just watch.
When I'm watching Invincible, I genuinely cannot believe how inept it is in its writing. The charm wears off. There is no subtlety, no complexity, and no boundaries pushed in storytelling. There is absolutely nothing to interpret or layers to peel back. There are interesting ideas, but it's all about the execution. It's like fucking Oppenheimer. You guys don't even hear the music. You don't even have the concept of high art in your vicinity. You guys are not knowledgeable. You are superhero fanboys.
You see why this isn't really good criticism? And every single point that he's made that even attempts to have any substance, I've been able to counter it and or point out how he has inconsistent standards.
Your insecurities are not quirks or relatable traits. They are character flaws. Wake the fuck up and improve. You are a detriment to yourself and the people around you while you are immature. I can say firsthand, nothing good comes from being a man-child.
Well, my friend, like is shown in the Lego Batman movie.
If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Who? No, I said that. Batman is very wise.
Really, it's gonna take a lot more than your moron, ignorant, man-child ass to convince me to take you seriously. I really did not think this many people would be willing to die on the Invincible Hill. So I'm sorry I accidentally stepped on you. At the end of the day, guys, my review did get the man-children mad, but there were people who disagreed and took my opinion for what it was. So why was Colin, a dude with 60,000 subscribers, one to say, this is the worst video I've ever watched? Because Colin is a man-child.
No, I left the comment because of things I've already gone over in this video and the previous one. And you really gotta stop projecting so much, my boy.
Colin isn't smart enough to know this, but in the Manchild Echo Chamber, he plays the role of executioner. He's gonna scope out for different opinions, and when he sees one, he's gonna be like, everyone look, this opinion is now debunked. Don't ever let someone not validate you. This is our perfect victory.
Once again, you say that I live in an echo chamber when I've already gone over that in this video, and you had and still have the chance to come and debate about your takes. End this video, but I doubt you'll do that, champ.
All the man children care about is being validated, so Colin doesn't even have to say anything of value, and he usually doesn't. Colin has obviously said some stupid ass shit in his Spider-Man videos, but guess what, guys? He has the W opinion, so he's W!
I'm the one that says nothing of value, but you're so bad at analyzing media that you can't even form anything more than a blanketed statement to justify why you hold an opinion on a certain piece of media. Then you get butthurt and cry like a little baby when people disagree with you.
Colin could literally start deep-throating the mic and people would still love it as long as their opinions matched. You will never see Colin have an unpopular opinion.
Now, I don't necessarily know if any of my YouTube videos are unpopular opinions, and that's because I don't spend my time forming my opinions based on whether or not it's a popular one. I form my opinions based on my own standards and what I enjoy, so let me lay out a couple opinions that are either controversial or not that popular from what I've seen. Number 1, I don't think Last of Us 2 has that bad of a story. Number 2, and this is kind of recent, but Stellar Blade just came out, and I've been seeing people say that it's a lot worse than Nier Tomato. And from the 15 hours I've played of Nier, I don't agree at all. In fact, I think Stellar Blade is better from what I've played of both games. In everything except for the story. A third unpopular opinion I guess I might have, I think Spider-Man 2, this game, has a pretty good story. And then the fourth unpopular opinion I can think of off the top of my head, which I actually have made a video on, I think Arkham Origins is the best Arkham game. Maybe an even more controversial opinion I'll throw in on there. Every single Insomniac Spider-Man game clears any single Arkham game in terms of combat. I think that both Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man PS4 are better than every single Arkham game. I thought Tears of the Kingdom was a 7 out of 10 at best. I think the Lego Batman games are mid at best. Spider-Man Edge of Time has a dog shit story. I think you get the point.
And surprisingly, if I give Invincible Season 2 a 2, it's gonna be because I didn't like the fucking show. I am not going to compromise or filter myself just because I know my video will offend man babies.
Nobody is forcing you to do anything with your videos. However, when you make a video about your opinion and you say stupid shit, then don't cry like a little bitch when people rightfully call you out.
Here's the thing though. Everyone keeps having their $3 logic with thinking all my points are criticisms or I'm critiquing Invincible. Dumbasses. Art is subjective. I'm not critiquing Invincible, I'm reviewing it. I'm not critiquing Invincible, I'm reviewing it.
I'm not critiquing Invincible, I'm reviewing it. Just to make sure you guys heard that one more time. I'm not critiquing Invincible, I'm reviewing it. Yeah, okay.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
But yeah, on that note, I think this is a good time to end the video. I think the point is very clear. But before I go, remember, Disagreement Day is always open. Come on the stream, pimpin'.
I'm not critiquing Invincible, I'm reviewing it.